From the field to the card shop, it's Moon 3PO and Bro PO breaking down baseball and the hottest sports cards, coming with a Saturday night recording, a hobby rip night recording. As officially as we're recording this episode, it was Topps Rip Night. Bro PO, how's your night going so far? How's your Saturday night going? How was your rip night? I know, unfortunately, speaking ahead of terms, you weren't able to go to rip night. We'll talk about that. But Saturday night recording, Cardboard Dugout officially back for its second episode in 2 weeks. So thank God we're officially back. Baseball season's in full swing. Spring training's in full swing. How's everything going?
We are so effing back right now. We're so effing back.
Yeah, the F-bomb.
I see the comments.
The comment. Cool it with the F-bomb. So fuck it.
I got you. Well, never mind. There goes that. No, yeah, it's been a good night. Pretty much spent the whole day with the family. Yeah, unfortunately didn't get to go to Topps Rip Night. Yeah, it was a good day. Kind of went down a rabbit hole this past hour or so. I don't know. Have you heard about this Lionel Messi card situation by any chance?
Soccer player?
You heard about it? Yeah.
No, what happened?
No, okay. So I had heard about it I think I heard about it on Friday, yesterday. About this other podcast was talking about, and I was like, what the hell are these guys talking about? So it was a Reddit post. So I'll quickly go through it because I don't want to spend too much time on this. But apparently, this dad bought his kids a box of soccer cards from Topps. And I don't know the product. Hold on, let me see where it's at. It was 2021-2022 Topps Finest Flashback Soccer. So in this, the kids pulled a orange Messi autograph to 10. So they sent it to PSA to get it graded. And when PSA, I guess, graded or sent it, they sent it back to them with no grade, and it just said authentic on it, on the label. So the dad was like, "Hey, like, is this a misprint, or like, did y'all mess up?" Topps, and then so Topps PSA told them like, "Oh yeah, it's a mistake. Like, go ahead and send this back to us, and we'll fix it." So then they had to do, and I guess they were gonna do that DNA test. So the dad had to fork out extra money to get like that DNA thing on the card, however that works. Turns out the card ended up being fake. They said it was fake.
What?
So PSA is claiming that the signature on the card is fake, and that apparently it might have been signed by Messi's brother.
What the hell?
Yeah, and then so it also says here on the thing, it says that that PSA for rectification, that their email soft and language, only saying that they couldn't authenticate the card. It says that the dad contacted Topps, who asked him to send the card, but refused to guarantee. So I guess Topps wanted the card back. The dad didn't want to send it because Topps couldn't guarantee them a resolution, since the card was apparently like years old. So
what the hell? That's the first I've heard of that.
And then yeah, and then it said here that PSA apparently said that they had 2 of those cards in its population. One of them was a red number to 5, graded a gem mint, and that the other one was the same orange, graded a gem mint, with the PSA DNA authentication. And apparently PSA has said that they will be removing those certifications from their pop report. And this was posted on Reddit 10 days ago. So I don't know.
Damn, so if you're the holders of those cards, what the hell do you do with those cards then?
But not even that. You just gotta think like Messi's like one of like the top, or probably some people say he's like the greatest soccer player. I don't know too much about soccer, but I mean, can you imagine like if his brother actually is signing those damn cards? Like, how many of those cards are fake or were signed by the brother? Like, it makes it like, I don't know. It's pretty crazy.
I wonder how they figure that out. I wonder if they're.
I'd have to look into more.
I wonder how they figure that out. Like, is it like a signature thing? Is it like a? I wonder how that goes into it.
I don't know, but the thing is too, like on the card, it says that it was guaranteed by like Topps, that it's authenticated. Yeah,
because usually was
it
a sticker on card?
Top representative not there. Actually, they have a picture of the card here. It's a sticker.
A sticker. Okay, yeah. Usually those are like, usually they'll put that on there. Oh yeah, I kind of see it.
You can't really see it.
I kind of see it.
That's the card.
Yeah,
It's kind of hard to see. But I'll send you the Reddit
Yeah, send me
thread.
that
It's
thread. I
pretty
did not. I
interesting. I don't
didn't.
know. I saw it.
Honestly have not heard of that.
I
Heard of that.
was
Yeah, because
I was
usually the way
going down a little bit of a
the
rabbit
sticker
hole.
thing works is like obviously they send them the sticker sheets and then like usually there's like a top employee or something like that. From what I understand of it, they watch them literally sign all those stickers and then they hand it to the top employee and it goes from there. From my understanding, so yeah, that's pretty
Yeah.
interesting. That I honestly am not.
I don't know if it's I don't know if this other part is true, but apparently from this other guy I was watching on YouTube, listen to what he's saying about it. He said that it's possible too that Tops um has like somebody act on their behalf. Like like let's say I'm signing cards, right? And you're like my witness, like Tops will have
Oh,
you sign a document saying I witness you witnessed me sign these cards.
that makes more
So it
sense
could
now.
have I don't know if that's true or not because I don't know like I don't know if like they're how I mean I'm pretty sure Messi's a busy man, so I don't know how often like they can get there in front of him.
Yeah, that makes
So it's kind
sense.
of just like, hey, like have one of your representatives just be there, act on the behalf of Top, sign this doc saying, hey, yeah, I witnessed him sign, and then go from there. I don't know. It's
Yeah.
a pretty
I
interesting
was about to
story.
say. 'Cause I was about to say like I know sometimes too they just mail the athletes or celebrity whoever the sticker sheet and then from there they sign it and then they mail it back to Tops, um, and it kind of goes from there. But yeah, no, that's interesting. I'm gonna have to. I got your message right now, so I'm
Yeah.
gonna have to read that Reddit thread and go down that because that's the
Yeah.
first I've heard of that. Uh, and usually I like even if it's
Yeah.
not baseball
How
related or
about that? Look
wrestling
at
related.
that. Some a little soccer talk
I was about
on
to
a
say,
baseball
I
pod.
was about to
That's
say,
what we
where else
about.
are you getting soccer card talk on any platform, on a podcast, on a hobby podcast? So if you guys haven't yet, leave a like and comment down below. If you're following on YouTube, subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And of course, if you're listening on Spotify or Apple, please feel free to leave a rating. Because yeah, I don't think you're gonna get any soccer card talk on a baseball card podcast. So this shows you how diverse we are. Yeah, who knows? Maybe now we go start a new other extension of Cardboard Dugout, kicking the cardboard. No, trademark that. Trademark it. Kicking the.
Leave a comment. Who's your favorite soccer player and who's your favorite team? I don't know nothing.
I know nothing.
We have a soccer team here. I think it's called. I think it's what are they called? Is it FC right? FC San Antonio. I think. I don't
Your
know.
guess is as good as mine. All the only two soccer players I know is Ronaldo,
Yeah, I don't know.
Messi.
And Messi probably right.
Was a damn. What was a women's soccer?
Oh, and David Beckham.
David Beckham.
David Beckham.
Kick it like Beckham. Who's the
Oh,
women? Who's
um, is it Alex Morgan? Is that
Alex
her name?
Morgan? I think that's her name. Yeah, I think.
Right. I just know her name because she's on the body armor. Is it body armor or the smart water? Anyway,
One of those. She's on some sports drink. Yeah, Alex Morgan, something like that.
out of the water. Yeah.
One of those. But yeah, again, you're not getting any soccer card talk anywhere else. Speaking of cards, soccer, a lot of soccer today at the card show that I went to today. That market I know has been heating up for a little bit, but yeah. And good old fashioned and good old Tops on the conversation of Tops, like we mentioned here in the beginning of the episode. Uh, Today or Saturday night, Saturday, whenever you're listening to this, it was officially Hobby Rip Night. Now, if I'm being completely honest, I totally forgot it was Rip Night. But yeah, I believe they hold these events like these Hobby Rip Nights every 3 to 4 months. I know they technically have a trade night that kind of acts like Hobby Rip Night because they do give away some of the free packs that they have left over. So if you're in your local area and you have any type of LCSs, any type of sports car store, anything like that, check it out. Check it out. Your Hobby Rip Night. It's always a fun time. Like I just mentioned, I was able to go. I have a little video coming out on my TikTok. This episode should be out on Monday. So by then, the TikTok will already be out. So if you guys want to go see, what we did, how it was, things like that, feel free to check out the TikTok at Moon3PO. But yeah, obviously, bro, I know you weren't, or fortunately weren't able to go, so I kind of speak on it on my experience here. But yeah, it's always fun. Our local hobby store, we have two of them technically. I went to one, we didn't go to the other. They held in-store raffles. They offer free food, drinks, snacks, things of that nature. Kids have the opportunity to do pack wars, so whoever gets like the best pack. Our store was doing a little bit differently. Like if you pulled an auto, you got in-store credit. And of course, with raffling, they gave away over $1,600 in store credit, which is kind of crazy. They had $100 500, and then I think if you spent, this was kind of crazy, if you spent $500, you got $1,000 in store credit. So technically you really only got 500 when you really think about the math, but because you spend 500, you get 1,000, so you really kind of get your 500 back. But still, I mean, it's credit.
Yeah.
We were laughing because me, Mrs. Moon 3PO, we were in line and they were doing the in-store credit. We're like, wait, we might win, so let's get this in-store credit to before we make the purchase.
Hold.
But yeah, it's always a fun time. I think what also makes Hobby Rip Night so cool as well is the athletes and celebrities that also partake in the Hobby Rip Night. I don't know if you saw the video. Mike Trout, I don't know where he was at. He
Yeah.
bought everybody in the store. Top Series 1. I thought that was pretty cool. Obviously, if you guys were listening to the pod last year, or I say last year, but it was like a couple of months ago, Victor Wembanyama was at our Hobby Rip Night at one of our other local hobby stores. Obviously, we're going to talk about it more on the extension of Cardboard Dugout, collecting the 1, 2, 3. Had a lot of WWE superstars ripping open the cards there, so I thought that was pretty cool. But yeah, Hobby Rip Night, always a big fan of it. Gave away some free cards here, have some on the side. They gave away. My pack was kind of hot. I mean, they're just base cards, but I mean, they're still kind of cool. Like James Wood, Dylan Cruz. For the YouTube viewers, I'm showing off the cards, obviously. Mrs. Moon 3PO pulled David Ortiz. So yeah, Hobby Rip Night, always fun. Got this t-shirt for the YouTube viewers for $5. So you can't get this anywhere else. But yeah, Hobby Rip Night, always fun. Bro Pio, I know, again, unfortunately, you weren't able to go. But I'm always curious to get your opinion when you see it from the outside. Like, what do you think about Hobby Rip Night? Do you think it's fun? Do you think it's cool? Are you eventually going to make it out one time? I know you're a very busy man, and now you're going to be even more busy. But,
Yeah. It's only going to get busier. But yeah, I do think eventually I will make it to one of these events. I think I saw one of the card shops here. They're saying that trade night is in April. But I also don't like trades because I feel like I'm always gonna lose on the end of the trade. But no, it is pretty cool. Like I said, I did see all the videos of like all the athletes and everybody at the card shops. I think I saw the 1-2 where Paul Skeens was at one, and I don't somebody who was the other player that was with them.
Damn,
God, who was with them?
I forgot who was with them. Let me see if I can find it really quick.
It was a big name player. Was it Jackson? Was it Jackson Bear? Was it one of the Jacksons?
Was it one of the Jacksons?
Let's see. I don't know. Hold on, I gotta find out now too. Cause it's in a bug.
I know Ali was looking for his rookie card, his auto. Was it Ali? Was he with them?
No. My God, there's so much on this top page right now. Okay, here he is. Where's? Oh yeah, it was Jackson Holiday, I think. Because it says Jackson Holiday and Paul Skeens were at a card shop.
Anyways, it was all three of them.
Like I think Jack.
Yeah, it's Paul Skeens.
All the Jacksons there?
Oh no, not the other Jackson. It's Paul Skeens, Jackson Holiday, and Ali Rutschman.
Oh, it was Adley. Okay, never mind. Adley wanted the Paul Skeens autograph.
Yeah,
so I was like, oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Like it was pretty cool to see. But yeah, then you talk about it, like all the wrestlers that were there. Obviously, we'll probably dig into that more in tomorrow night or the next day when we record collecting the 1, 2, 3. But that's obviously I don't know when this whole hobby night started, but I don't know if this was the first time like WWE ever like partake in something like this. So it's pretty cool. Like the Miz, I don't know if you saw the video of the Miz. He pulled that
The Rock,
one of the Rock Final Bosses cards. Yeah. So I feel like the Rock's cards have been popping out a lot more lately. But that'll be a topic for another pod.
Jesus, perfect timing for that.
Not going down. I ain't gonna do it. But yeah, I mean, it looks fun. I don't think, from what I've seen, I don't think any Spurs players are at any of the card shops, but yeah, it's still pretty cool to see.
Yeah, I was about to say when I saw Victor Wembanyama was out for the rest of the year, I'm like, oh, he ain't making it in there anymore. I don't think he's gonna be showing up anywhere anytime soon. But yeah, I highly recommend.
Get well soon, Wemby.
Get well soon, Wemby. Crush the playoff dreams for the San Antonio Spurs. Look at that, you even getting basketball talk on Cardboard Dugout. Hoop cardboards. There you go, trademark it. But yeah, I mean, I think Hobby Rip Night.
Well, there it is.
It's always fun. It's good to kind of surround yourself with people who are in the hobby as well. I know for myself that card show that I went to, they had like a little mini card show that same day, so I was able to see some familiar faces. Had some vendor tables kind of set up in the middle. So bought some singles from there as well. Um, but yeah, it's always a good time. Surround yourself, get to have, talk to people who are in your local area. So you get to build those, we always say connections and relationships like we like to express here in the hobby. So yeah, it's always fun. I highly recommend, again, if you guys are in your local area, if you guys have local card stores, look it up. I'm pretty sure your local hobby store does participate in it. Seems like it's a pretty well-known thing for everyone who's in the hobby. So yeah, highly recommend. If you've never been out to one, highly recommend for you to go check it out. Even Mrs. Moon 3PO likes them. She likes to go and just open packs. She ripped open it wasn't Tops related as per usual, because I think the last video I posted on my YouTube, she was ripping open Shrouded Fable, what are those things called? Booster bundles or something like that. I think the booster bundles, I think is what they're called. She was ripped open some 151 of Pokemon. So again, that's also on the TikTok. So yeah, always fun. Highly recommend it. So yeah, can't wait for the next one. Hopefully you can make it out to that one. We'll have an official vlog on that YouTube channel for that one. So Bropio, hopefully in April you're not busy. Hopefully we can out to trade night and yeah, have a good little vlog there, showcasing Hobby Rip Night. Now, heading on here to some baseball news. I feel like it's been a hot minute since we talked some baseball news. Obviously, last episode we did talk about Alex Bregman, but actually talking news, it's been a little bit quiet. But now with spring training in full swing, some of the news and injuries and things of that nature are starting. But first line of news that came out, a little bit out of chronological order, because I feel like this happened second, but we'll obviously, I think the second topic here that we have listed on the podcast is a little bit more important for us, obviously, as Red Sox fans. But the first couple of news here coming out of spring training is Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Is expected to reach free agency, as he does not sign and agree to an extension with the Toronto Blue Jays. Now, coming in from I'm reading this off of MLB Trade Rumors. Guerrero it feels like he's been in the league for so long, but the dude is only 25, so that's ridiculous. Had a very, very low key, underrated season. I feel like people were kind of sleeping on his season. I know he kind of got off a little bit of a slow start, but slowly picked up here, and was on top in the MVP votings. But according to Vladimir Guerrero Jr., the deals were not close. They did not come close to his number, which doesn't surprise me one bit. Even though I take that back. It does surprise me a little bit, because Toronto has been trying to throw their money at other players, but are not throwing their money at Vladimir Guerrero Jr. So it doesn't really make a lot of sense to me as far as that. You will want to think Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is your cornerstone player. He is the player that you build around. Obviously, like we just talked about, it's still very much in his prime. So the fact that they're not throwing the money to him, but they want to throw the money to Shohei Ohtani, try to throw the money to Juan Soto, threw the money to Anthony Santander, threw it to Max Scherzer. So yeah, just overall very shocking that they were not able to come to an agreement, in my opinion. But Bropio, I'll throw it off to you. What are the first initial reactions to hearing that Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is heading into free agency after the 2025 season?
Yeah, I was pretty shocked, and you pretty much you nailed it. How he, like, obviously Toronto's been trying to bring somebody in, and and nobody's really biting. They missed with Shohei, um, and then apparently they were like one of like the last contenders for Juan Soto. So I don't know I don't remember where they were at, like, money wise, but I think I'm assuming they were probably like around that $600 range, like the last couple of teams were. So if you're Vladdy, I mean, obviously, like, if Toronto's not offering you that, I mean, you would kind of be like, hey, like, what the heck? Like, you were going to give, Soto, who, all this money, when I've been, in this organization for, since the beginning, and you're not even nowhere near. I'm assuming, obviously they haven't released the figures, but I'm going to go on a limb and probably assume that Vladdy's probably somewhere within that $500, $600 range. And I'm pretty sure maybe like Toronto's like $300-$400. I'm assuming. I would think there's a big gap, because when the reporters asked him about it, like, were they even close, and he was just like, he took a line from Devers and just said no. So, yeah, it's pretty interesting to see what they're doing with that. I mean, if they let Vladdy go, then they're gonna have to blow up that whole team, because I don't know what their farm system looks like. But I mean, if Vladdy's gone, um, I mean, Bobichet's kind of taking a decline as well. George Springer's practically always hurt nowadays, so I mean, I don't know what they're doing over there. So, and it doesn't help that nobody wants to go play in Canada. So,
Yeah, I think that's one of the bigger things here that I think a lot of people fail to acknowledge that I think the environment doesn't really help. So I think that's part of the reason why nobody wants to take that money. Um, but yeah, you kind of touched on the figures here. Like it's just so interesting of what he's going to get. Like we mentioned here, he's very, very much still in his prime. I'm reading it here. I just read it off of from trade rumors that he's going to be 1 year older than Juan Soto, and Juan Soto just got 765 for 15. So it kind of opens up the floodgate as far as of like what does someone like Vladimir Guerrero Jr. get? Uh, he's coming off a 6.2 B WAR, 30 home runs, 103 driven in, 323 batting average, OPS plus of 166. So of course way above league average. And I think what was kind of like shocking, but like not surprising, was like even in his struggle years, like he was still a 2-win player. Like last year in 2023, that was kind of considered one of his down years. You know, he hit 264, but had an OPS plus here of 116, so still above league average. 2022 again was considered a struggle year. Hit 32 home runs and drove in 97, OPS plus of 133. 2021, obviously his MVP runner up year when he hit 48 and drove in 111, had an OPS of 167. So I mean, even throughout his struggles, the dude averages here a 137 OPS plus, has 160 home runs, averages 32 home runs per year, 100 driven in. So it's going to be curious to see what that number looks like for someone like him. And I think that's why this Juan Soto deal is going to be so interesting, because it's not just him. It's guys like Kyle Tucker, those kind of guys that are going to be hitting the market soon. Like, what do they get? Because I don't think they're as good as Juan Soto, but they're younger, and the bat, I don't know. It's going to be very, very interesting to see how that plays out and what teams will be involved. Who knows? We're early in spring. Maybe there's a deal that comes in play for Vladdy. Maybe they just ship him off and get something. Which, if I'm the Blue Jays, I would do, because like I don't think you're contending this year. And that's just not me just being biased. Like I would, obviously we're not doing season predictions. We'll talk about that later in the episode. But I think right now, like I would have them finishing last, fourth place. Like I don't see them being top three, obviously for good reason. So it kind of comes to the thing where like, are you just gonna let him walk and get a comp pick? Like, and I think you can get more now. I think you can, than rather than at the trade deadline, because now it's look like you need to move him if you're in last place or whatever the case may be. But yeah, I just think it's going to be an interesting couple of weeks as we head into opening day. And then obviously as we head to the trade deadline, see what that market looks like. Now, of course, a good transition to that would be obviously once Vladdy is expected to hit free agency, the rumor mill starts going off, and that the Red Sox are one of his favorite teams to land him, and he wants to play with the Boston Red Sox. But the Boston Red Sox have their own things they got to figure out right now, because things got a little bit interesting. So obviously we talked about it last episode. Alex Bregman officially signing with the Boston Red Sox. Now, the mindset and the thoughts that we all had, and even our good old Jeff Passan had, who's right basically all the time, was that the idea was for Alex Bregman to play second base. That was the idea. But that's not the case. It looks like the Red Sox intentions are to have him at third base, move Rafael Devers to DH, and go from there. But our good boy here, Rafi Devers, was not happy with that. He reported to camp, I believe, in the middle of the week, coming back from the Dominican Republic from celebrating his daughter's birthday, if I'm not mistaken. I know he was in Fort Myers, I think, since January. I think he dipped to the Dominican Republic, celebrated her birthday, and then came back, if I'm not mistaken. But then he goes, does his little daily meetings with in Fort Myers, his first meeting of this year, and then they ask him, "Are you open to moving to DH?" And like you just mentioned, Bro Peel, like Vladdy said, nope, he's not moving. And they ask him why. He's like,
I play third base.
I played third base.
I play third base.
Um,
You tell him, Rafi. You tell him.
And then what also didn't get translated in the Spanish translation was that they then ask him, well, he's like, no, like it's my decision. Like it's not the Red Sox decision. It's my decision where I play. And then it kind of twinkles down a little bit as far as of that they never asked him, and then that they only brought it to him 3 days prior about him potentially moving to third base. And I think what even pissed him off even more was, I believe it was Dan Shaughnessy, that schmuck. I believe he asked him about his weight, and I think he said like, I weigh 240, and then I think that's what pissed him off even more, because I put out a tweet on my end, like I've never seen Rafael Devers like that upset. Like he looked legit upset, and I granted, I think the language barrier kind of plays into. I know he's been learning English since he's been here, but yeah, he looked genuinely upset. I don't know what you thought about it, but yeah, he looked pissed off.
Yeah, he looked annoyed, and I was like you too. At first, I thought, I was like, well, maybe he misunderstood the question, or maybe he didn't fully understand. Because if you actually go back and listen to it, like you hear the reporter like, oh, like can you translate that to him? So I thought maybe like did he not understand, but I think he pretty
He
much understood.
understands English and he speaks it
Um,
well. He just picks and
yeah,
chooses when he wants to speak English or
yeah.
Spanish.
Yeah. So that's what kind of threw me off. But I think from where I stand, um, like I don't. Well, one, they can't like. I guess the whole going back to like where he only found out like 3 days. Like, I guess you can't really like go to Devers and be like, hey, like you're gonna probably move off third base if we do X or if we do X. Like, you have to make those moves first before you can even. I mean, maybe they could have told him like, hey, we're looking at this. Like just just in case. So maybe that's on them. They should have maybe done that. It sounds like he was like completely like blown out of the like didn't have no idea what was going on.
Blindsided, essentially.
Um, but yeah, yeah. But also I think too, like I don't think the Red Sox should be like, oh, like as soon as we bring in whether it be Alex Bregman or Nolan Arenado, like you're gonna move off third base immediately because I mean, if you're obviously when they brought in Bregman, like he can basically opt out after this first year. So why are you gonna piss off Devers, move him off third base to have Bregman there for hypothetically maybe 1 year, and then Bregman's gone, and then like Devers like, all right, you get your spots back. Like that's kind of like more like a disrespectful move, I guess I would think. Because I think that always was that's what I remember always being the like the move to like if they were gonna bring in Bregman, like it was gonna be for second base or possibly maybe even shortstop. Um, which I think I don't know why they also don't even try him at shortstop and just have Trevor Story at second base if it's elbow, like you know what I mean. I don't know. I guess that's a story for another day. But yeah, I think that was the thing for me too. I was like, you can't like have Devers move off third for a potential like 1 year deal. Like, and Rafi's a hit or miss on defense. I know they said that I think this year was probably like the season with the least amount of errors that he's made.
Yeah, I believe he had
And I know he's
12.
all negative
Yeah.
and I know he's negative when it comes to like defensive like stats and stuff like that. But I mean, for every like one like bad play he makes like two fucking crazy catches that like, all right, how did you make that? Like, it's kind of
And
crazy.
I feel like that's
Um,
always been his thing. Like we're talking to Jim Bro. If you don't listen to the Collective 123, like who the fuck is that? That's our other brother. He texted us and he was like, I texted him. I was like, yeah, he's pretty bad. Like he's bad, but he like makes the complicated plays, like the difficult plays that you didn't think he was gonna make. He makes those, but it's like the simple like ball straight hit right at him, and then like tries to make a throw to first, and he like either like sails it or doesn't make a good throw, or just maybe just bobbles it. So I don't know. I really don't know what it is with when it comes to his defense, and that side of it. Because yeah, like you mentioned there, he's a negative run save. I believe he's like a -8 or -6 last year, and outs above average. When it comes to that, his range and arm is not. I didn't see that, but yeah, I know he's in the negative on those aspects. But yeah, it was very interesting because I think also and this is what I took away from the Section 10 podcast, was that supposedly like he was fine with Nolan Arenado coming, like he was okay with that, but
and see, that's the thing. I think it would have been a bigger problem had Nolan come over instead of Alex Bregman, because like that'd be hard to like tell Devers, or it'd be hard to like defend like having Nolan either at first or DH or whatever when he's like a platinum Gold Glove winner and having Devers there. Like I think that'd probably be more of a bigger problem than Bregman. So I don't. Yeah, I was.
Yeah,
It's
that's the
yeah.
part
I don't
when
get
when
it.
I
I
when
don't
I
understand
was
it.
when obviously we consume that podcast as one of our favorite podcasts when it comes to Red Sox talk. When I heard that part, that's the part that was kind of weird to me too, because like, why would you be comfortable with him coming in and not Bregman? Um, I say the word comfortable. I don't think that's the right word. I guess upset. I guess that's the right word. Like supposedly he was fine with him Arenado coming in, but Bregman for some reason it took a little bit of a turn there, and he gave the comments that he made. I think obviously what we also kind of failed to acknowledge was that the Red Sox love Christian Campbell, and I think that's a big part of this is that they see him at second, and part of what Craig Breslow and what Alex Cora were talking about this whole offseason was improving the infield defense. Obviously, we're 162 guys when it comes to Red Sox ball. We know how atrocious that infield defense was, but playing devil advocate on that was like Rafael Devers was not the problem of that. The problem of that was you had Trevor Story dislocate his shoulder in the middle of the hole, diving in the middle of the hole in the middle of the season. And then we have guys like David Hamilton playing shortstop who can barely make a throw from second. So you're dealing with that, and then just a bunch of trickling effect with that. So I don't think Devers was he part of the problem? Was he a little smidgen? Yes, but was he the true problem? No. Um, so I think their way of thinking is like, okay, our defense is better with Devers at third, Story at short, Christian Campbell at second, and Cass is at first. But even with that, like Christian Campbell, like I don't think second base is his true natural position. I think his true natural position was the outfield, if I'm not mistaken, because I know they kind of been throwing him out there to second base. So I think that's one of the things too, as well. Like, can he even
So
play a true second base? Like, that's to be determined. But um,
is he like the opposite of Mookie then, where he goes
I think yeah, he's literally just like
infield
Mookie,
to the
yeah,
outfield then?
something like that. Or yeah, because I know they were kind of talking about that earlier. Like his defense is like, is your defense better with him at second base, or is it again the third base, Devers, shortstop, Story, second base, Bregman, first base, uh, Cassis. So it was just and
It says Campbell was drafted as a
shortstop.
shortstop. Um, but then also here it says that they invited a non-roster outfielder, Christian Campbell, to spring training.
Hmm.
So I don't know.
Yeah, so
It says
obviously,
he was drafted as a shortstop though,
yeah, obviously second base is not his natural position.
and
So
that's courtesy of Baseball America.
yeah. So obviously second base wasn't his natural position. So it comes to that play again, like, well, is Christian Campbell really defensively improving your defense? So yeah, it was just a mess. It was, I think also it was just kind of blown out of proportion as well. The whole situation. Do note though, Bregman is playing third base tomorrow in spring training in the first game, so that is interesting. So keep an eye on that. 'Cause I know Devers is still dealing with the
Well,
shoulder.
apparently Devers is apparently he's like building up strength. Devers, so it's like all
Yeah, because that
right,
also plays into, like,
okay,
these
there we
nagging
go.
injuries, like, a part of him playing third, playing the defense.
And it's the same. The shoulder thing was the same injury from last year. So I'm like, oh god, here we
Yeah.
go.
So, I was like, I don't know if that
1 week of spring training, and I'm already aggravated.
so, I don't know if that plays into it as well. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see how this plays out, um, moving forward. But it seems like Cassis has the whole situation figured out in his head, because he had some interesting comments.
I was about to ask. I was like,
Because
I was about to
he
ask, what
knows the
did you
whole
think
thing.
about
He
those
knows
comments?
what they're gonna do. Homeboy's acting like he's CBO of the Boston Red Sox these days. Um, so not only does Devers give out some comments to the Boston media, Tristan Cassis, I believe the next day, or like what's the next? I believe it was the next day or however long it was. Um, then get some interesting comments. Now, do note we've been very pro Tristan Cassis. If you go listen even to our interview with Anthony Renato, we were talking about Tristan Cassis. We love Tristan Cassis. You see the Bowman card I have of him right there. We've been big Tristan Cassis guys. We love him. I think he's going to be a star when healthy. I think he can easily be a 40 homer, 100 plus RBI guy, 100 plus OPS plus type player. Very special bat, very special player. minus from all the little antics, the fingernails painting. I don't give a shit about that. But Tristan Casas has some interesting comments because they ask him about where he thinks the whole situation and where Rafael Devers should play. And Homeboy, instead of just giving the good old typical media answer, like, that's not my decision, I'll leave it up to AC, I'll leave it up to leadership to make that decision for us. Homeboy gives his own answer. He says that Rafael Devers, that third base is his position. Like, that's him. He's getting better every year. Don't know what the hell metric he's looking at when it comes to that. Dude loves to study metrics and knew every metric on ESPN about Jarren Duran. But according to him, Rafael Devers is the getting better every year at third base. And then says that Bregman is athletic enough to play second base, which I agree with that. Don't mind that. So that comment alone, I don't have a problem with. You're sticking up for your teammate. I get that. Was it the right answer? Should you have said that? No. The part that got me upset and kind of pissed me off is when they then asked him about the big three. They asked him, well, do you think Kristen Campbell should play second base? And he's like, no, like, I don't think they should play second base, or he should be in the major. He said all three of them, Marcelo, Roman Anthony, and Kristen Campbell. Like, he does not think that those guys should be in the majors and that they have a good veteran group. So my problem with that was, like, one, like, yes, you've been here 3 years, but you're not even a veteran. Like, you've been here for a year and a half. Like, you were here for half a year, you were here last year, and then you were hurt the following year. So, like, it's not your spot to be saying comments like that. So I don't know what you thought about that. I don't think we really talked about it. I kind of saved it off for here, so we kind of get raw reaction for both of our thoughts, because usually we kind of think the same, ironically enough. But yeah, that was my thing with that, is that I didn't really mind the Dever comment, but it was when he talked about the big three, I was like, all right, that's the part where you lose me, because I don't think that's your spot to be saying anything like that.
Yeah, I think I kind of agree with you on that point. I don't think, like, he should have, like, made comments about anything regarding the lineup, whether it was like Devers at third, Bregman at second, and then anything to do with the big three. Like, I don't think he probably shouldn't have said that. Because again, yeah, that's not his, I guess, his position really to say. But I also think, like, I think the media, like, takes advantage, tends or tries to take advantage, and they kind of do, because he's just so open minded, and I think he just, in the end, he just, like, I don't want to say he, like, not that he doesn't care, but he's gonna be brutally honest, and he's just gonna speak his mind regardless of what it is. And I think even Cora said that in one of the interviews, like, oh, Casas, like, speaks his mind, and Corey even mentioned, like, oh, I played with Schilling, and he was very vocal about all his stuff. Which we're not even gonna get into Schilling. That's a whole another fucking story. But but and I'm not saying Casas is Schilling anything like that, Andy, too. So just for the record, but yeah. So I think the media likes to, like, they want to pick his brain because they know how weird he is, how awkward and how open minded he is, and how blunt he is, and I don't think, like, I think also too, if you go and look up the articles, like, what you're gonna see, like, from the media is, like, it says probably gonna say Tristan Casas, doesn't think Marcelo, Roman Anthony, Chris Campbell should be in the majors. That's probably gonna be the headline. But if you actually go and listen to, like, what he said, he basically said that he doesn't think that they should start the year in Boston because they have guys that are at the major league level who are ready. And I mean, in a sense, he does have a point. Like, Christian Campbell, like, where are you going to put him? Like, would you rather have him sit on the bench, get a pitch bat every now and then, start every now and then to give a breather to Devers and Bregman or Story and stuff like that? Or would you rather have him down in Worcester, where he can get everyday at bats and work on his craft? Same thing for, Roman Anthony and Marcelo, but specifically Marcelo, because he hasn't really given us still a full season. Like, he's been hurt too. I mean, I think probably the one guy you could probably make a case of is maybe Roman Anthony, but the same thing, we have a jam in the outfield. Like, you got Willier, you got Jarren Duran. We still don't know what the hell they're gonna do with Yoshida. Like, there's so many questions. So I can see where the jogland, the log jam is. So I do. That's why I think the comments were kind of blown out of proportion. So I really didn't mind it too much. I can see why people are upset, but at the same time, like, I didn't think much of it. He just kind of was like, we have a major league ready roster, and, like, can these guys come in the middle of the year and give us a little boost? yeah, I'm sure they can, but yeah, I don't want these three guys, making the roster in April just to be bench bats. It's kind of what I'm at. I'd rather them be in AAA, getting their reps in, getting their at bats, their daily stuff, and then obviously baseball. There's going to be injuries, so I wouldn't be surprised if, for sure, I think Roman Anthony and Christian Campbell will. I think we'll for sure see them at some point this year. Um, Marcelo, maybe depending on how his season goes, maybe he looks like one of those September
He's
call-ups.
looking a
But
lot slimmer. I don't know if you.
yeah,
I watched the spring game. I watched the Boston College game on Friday. He looks a lot slimmer. I think that's probably been his thing. He's been, I think, a little bit too
yeah,
bulky. So with obviously a bulky body leads to some injury-prone seasons. So he looks a lot slimmer. And from what I've heard with Cora, I know they interviewed him in the dugout. And he said like their like sports analysis data or whatever says like it's better to go out and play more than like the short stints that we typically see in spring training, like the short like 3 innings and you're out, or 4 innings and you're out. So, and he played Friday, he played Saturday. So it looks like he's going to get a lot of reps in, which I obviously it circles back to what you just mentioned, that he's been hurt so much. So he needs to get his reps in and things like that. So yeah, I think he's the more interesting one out of all of them when it comes to like what his future looks like. But yeah, I just think like that whole
yeah. Then you still got Vaughn Grissom.
Von
We don't know
Grissom,
what the
yeah.
hell he's gonna happen to him. David Hamilton. Obviously, he had the little shaky start at the beginning of the year, but then obviously, had got caught fire and became a good role player. Well, actually, starter because we're fucking hurt all the time. Then obviously he got hurt at the end of the year, so had an abrupt end to his season. But I mean, you have him that's also in the mix. Um, yeah, I mean, obviously, I think I don't know what happened. I don't know what's going on with Willie. Apparently, he's like sick from
Yeah, it's like a
some
gastro
stomach
stomach thing. I
thing.
don't know, something like that. I read that like 2 hours
I'm no
ago.
doctor, so I don't know what the heck that is. Yeah, so I don't know. Like, there's gonna be injuries, and there's gonna be like yeah. So it's I don't know. That's where I'm at with that.
Yeah, I would just like the final putting the pin in that is like, yeah, like I was like the only thing I just really again just kind of just bothered me, kind of got me a little bit upset was the whole like big three thing. Cause one, it's not your decision, or it's not your he didn't give the right answer. Like there's a way he should
Yeah.
have answered it. And granted, yes, that's probably his way of thinking. And yeah, like you mentioned, I think you nailed it perfectly. Like he's a guy that's going to be very open. And we kind of saw in the Netflix documentary, like he's gonna be a very big center part of that documentary. And
What did you think of those? We haven't talked about this either, but like, what did you think of that little snippet
very
about him?
interesting.
Fuck, Christian, what are you doing?
Yeah, very interesting. Like I from the reports that I had read and the things that we had heard, that he was like a very big center part of it, and that obviously for this reason. Um, but yeah, I think it was like a good little glimpse of like what to expect, and like I think he's kind of like mentioned that like he's very hard on himself. But yeah, it was very interesting. I think it was kind of cool to see it. I put out a tweet too that it's gonna piss me off rewatching that season of a mediocre team that should have probably been better. So it's gonna fucking piss me
like
off. But
Netflix is really gonna make me go back and rewatch a 500 team and just piss me off all
the
over
Netflix is
again.
gonna find a way to fucking piss me off. But that's the stuff that we like. Like I love the behind the scenes stuff. If you're a deep rooted into baseball, the franchise was probably one of the cooler, best things that baseball did years ago, like 2011 with the Giants. They did it with the Miami
With the
Marlins.
Miami,
And after that,
yeah.
cut the wire there. But yeah, it seems like we're gonna get like a little bit of a glimpse of that, but even more in depth.
Well,
So yeah,
when you follow that shitty ass Marlins team, you'd cut the budget too.
and you got fucking Ozzie Guillen talking about who do you talk about? And was it Castro, right? And he said something about like he like praised them or some shit like that. Said some shit you don't want to say.
Oh yeah, it was about Fidel Castro, I think.
Yeah, like he like praised
yeah.
them in a city and state where like a lot of Cuban people defect to. So like I don't think you want to be saying that on the franchise. So but yeah, I thought it was cool. I think it'd be interesting to see it. What did you think about it?
Yeah, I'm like I said, I'm interested to watch it, but again, I'm in the same boat of like I'm just gonna be aggravated watching this 500 team again on fucking Netflix. But the only way that would make it up if there's a season 2 when it's a championship documentary. So that's what I'm going for.
Have they said if they're releasing it all at once, or is it like an episode thing? Because it's coming out in the middle of the baseball season.
Yeah, I think it drops April 9th, I want to say. God, I hope they do. I'm like, you're gonna drag this out? Like, come on, let's not do this, man. I don't think so because they dropped the whole '04 thing, like, you know,
Yeah, that's true.
which I'm
I don't
probably
know if
gonna.
it's like one of those things where it's like
I'm gonna rewatch
next
that
on the
documentary. That one was so
like
good.
I don't know if it's one of those things where it's like the preview is gonna be like next on what I don't even know what it's called. Is it I don't even know what the documentary's called. Like I know they usually have like official title, like the
They have the name for it. Yeah,
uh
I don't know what it's called. Let me see.
but
Let me see if it pops up.
yeah, I don't know. It's gonna be interesting. It even showed in the trailer, like they show like the behind the scenes. Like I think it showed Brian Bale with like his kids. I think it might even showed Rafi. I don't remember if they showed Rafi in the trailer or not. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting. I think it'll be fun to kind of see the behind the scenes type stuff. I know they didn't capture like all the moments, but hopefully we get to see some of the cooler moments the brief cool moments that we saw from last year's. Hopefully we get like a lot of Jaron Duran. I think it'd be cool to see the All-Star game stuff. I think they were there for that. Uh so seeing him go with Tanner and all those guys, so I think it'll be pretty cool to see it. But yeah, again, going back to Cassis, I think he'll be fine.
Yeah, because there's gonna be a big gap somewhere in between that documentary because I think they weren't following them for like a good month or two. So
The one highlight they didn't
I
follow
don't
was
know.
the Colorado series. When Cal Control had those words in a
We could have had a brawl on Netflix. Come on.
Cal Control had those words ready to body back for Reese McGuire. And
Hey, maybe he thought the Netflix camera was there. He's like, all right, I'm gonna get my 2 minutes in.
Cal Control, man, that funny enough is kind of ironically, I don't want to maybe not say it here on the podcast, but not the best player to be around from my time. Well, at the off the pot talk.
Yeah, yeah.
At the off the pot talk. Unless you guys want to hear that story, leave a comment down below. Tweet me at Moon3P if you want to hear the Control story. I got some interesting stuff about him. But yeah, that's all I have on that. I thought it was just, again, like you mentioned, they're very blown out proportion. Did Cassis need to answer like that? No. Was there better answers to give? Yes. Is he necessarily wrong? Not really. But I just think that he just needed to cool it down a little bit, know your role, like the good old Rock would say. And yeah, just go out and play ball, stay healthy, and you'll be fine. But yeah, as spring training does roll along, we get players coming in, we get young guys coming in, prospects coming in. A thing that's been integrated in this spring training that a lot of these prospects are familiar with is the ABS system. Some ballparks are implementing the ABS system, whoever allows the technology, which that is so crazy to me. Like, why some ballparks, I mean, granted, I understand it's spring training, but why some ballparks still do not have the technology to do some of these things is kind of bonkers. I know like some spring training games don't even have the radar, which is so crazy to me. But the ABS here, according to ESPN.com, 13 spring stadiums and over 60% of the Cactus and Grapefruit League games will feature an automated ball strike ABS challenge system as MLB continues to inch closer to using it during the regular season, though that won't occur any earlier than 2026. The league is testing out the system at the big league level for the first time after years of experimenting with the ABS in the minor leagues. The rules are as follows. During the spring, each team will be given 2 challenges per game and retain successful challenges. Only the batter, catcher, or pitcher can initiate a challenge, which must happen immediately after the umpire's call. The player must quickly tap his hat or helmet to indicate a challenge. The results of the challenge will be displayed on the scoreboard and television broadcast to communicate whether a call was overturned or not. The 5 dual team systems: Arizona, the Seattle Mariners, Padres, White Sox, Dodgers, Royals, Rangers, Reds, Guardians, Rockies, Arizona Diamondbacks will all have the systems used this spring. The same is true for the 8 teams that play in Florida: the Blue Jays, Tigers, Yankees, Pirates, Phillies, Mets, and Cardinals, and the Marlins will have access there to those systems. So I know when I first heard about it, I thought it was very cool. Like, obviously, I follow a lot of minor league baseball. I watch it on we have the MLB TV. They gave us the MLB for free, so I do watch it quite a bit. And have seen this system being in use. It's very cool, very technology based, obviously. Very interesting to see that play. But I was I was watching the Cubs and the Dodgers game on Friday after the Red Sox game. And this is why I wanted to bring it up here and have it on this topic of podcasting, is that the Craig Counsell, I believe, doesn't want his players using it. Because his thought reasoning was like, we're not going to use it in the regular season. I don't want you guys to get used to this. So I'm curious to get your thought on it, because I think it's very cool. It's, again, testing it, trial and error. But hearing that, I was like, damn, well, he's not wrong. Like, you're not going to be able to do this in the regular season. So maybe during this month you get comfortable using the ABS system. But when it comes to, and you're in a dog days of summer and there's a strike that's a ball, or a ball that's a strike, you can't tap your head and get that overturned. So I thought it was very interesting to hear that side of that, because from the fan perspective, it's very cool. But from the baseball perspective and player manager perspective, it's a little bit different.
Yeah. Honestly, I didn't even know he said that. I hadn't seen that comment, but I mean, yeah, it makes sense. Like knowing like you have that opportunity to possibly overturn like a ball or strike call. But I mean, if you're not gonna be able to use it in in the regular season, or specifically like the postseason too, like what's the point of trying to get used to it? But also like I also feel like you do want to still use it because you want to show that, hey, like this is beneficial to us. Like we do need this kind of system in place. So um yeah, that is kind of interesting that he would say that, but I do see why. But again, I think this is why they're testing it out, because they need to see, how it's going to work, and like how quickly like can they do it. And obviously, I think we've seen it. Don't think it takes that long, because I think they put up the board like already there. I mean, obviously we see the the strike zone on TV, so it's like it can't take that long to go back and look at it. So I don't know. I like it. It there's you can't. It's gonna help specifically in big moments too, where like like it was a big missed call, and we all know like one ball or like one like missed pitch can make a whole difference. Um, so but yeah, I mean I'm all for it. I like it.
Yeah, I like it. It takes like merely, I would say, like 30 seconds to a minute. Does not take that long to review and overturn the call or keep the call as stands. Like I've seen some games in the minor leagues. I know they were kind of like posting clips later, like as they were implementing the system. Like there's been some minor league games I've ended on the ABS strike, overturned from a ball to a strike. So yeah, it's very interesting. I'm a big fan of it. If there's technology to get the call right, why not use it? I know some people are talking about, it takes away the human element of the game. I mean, I guess, but how many times do we complain about umpires missing calls or things like that? They're still behind the plate. That's not changing, but it's just a matter of doing their job accurately. And if you have the technology to do it, why won't you use it? I think a counteraction that I had to those comments made by Craig Consecrat, he doesn't even know who I am, but like I think that I had in my head was like kind of like what you just mentioned, like you would want to use it because it shows that if there's an error with it, how do we fix it so we get it right? If we're not going to use it, we're not going to have the data to go based off of. Yes, you could use minor league data. Yes, you could do this and that, but the minor leagues and major leagues are two different things. And also making sure that these ballparks are better suited so they can host this type of technology. Obviously, minor league stadiums are not suited to do it. But making sure that MLB players and the MLB stadiums have the correct technology to ensure that they're getting the right call and doing it correctly. I think one note too, I know some fans were complaining, how come only managers, how come managers can't do it? Well, because they don't want you to fucking cheat. Obviously, they have all the iPads in the damn dugout, so of course they're not gonna be able to do it. So I think I like it a lot that it's the hitter, catcher, and or the pitcher that can call it. I have no issue with that. But yeah, I just thought it was very interesting to see that some players are for it or not. Some managers are for it, and some players are not. So I think it was a little bit of an interesting convo for that, because I know they've talked about that they're not going to use it this year. But be curious to see what in 2026 if they do implement. I think the CBA is also coming up, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm not too sure if that's like a discussion for all that. It's going to be
Yeah.
it's going to be very interesting the next couple of seasons to see what happens with that. Maybe we don't have this podcast next year. Maybe we'll be in a strike and we have nothing to talk about.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, one last little comment on the system. I think the thing to also note is that it has to be like, I mean, I don't know what the time frame is, but it has to be like as soon as the ump makes the call. So like the the catcher, the batter, the pitcher don't have time to like it's not something to be like, oh, can we review this real quick? Like it's supposed to be like, you think it's missed, tap your head, so it's supposed to be quick. So
Yeah, it says here, only the batter, catcher, or pitcher can initiate a challenge, which must happen immediately after the umpire's call. So yes, you do have to do it right away. And kind of just still going through the article here. It says here the league says the challenge takes about 17 seconds to complete. Experience in the minor leagues showed an overturn rate of about 50% on average. There were 13.9 challenges per game during the minor league testing. After collecting data, including talking to players, coaches, and umpires throughout the spring, and evaluating the AAA regular season, the league's competition committee will determine if the ABS becomes a reality in Major League Baseball regular season and postseason. What else to talk about here? Yeah, that's basically it. And this again talks about how in AAA baseball that it is going to employ the full challenge. I believe it was always like down in the lower levels, like the low A, double A kind of things like that, but AAA is going to get the full effect. So I'm going to be curious to see how that goes. I know Tristan Cassis, if he has the opportunity to do that, will fucking love that ABS system. Dude's challenge. I think he actually did it last, if I'm not mistaken. I think I seen him do it like once when he was rehabbing last year. I could be wrong, but I feel like I saw something about that. Could be wrong, but dude knows the strike zone better than anybody. So it's always going to be curious to see like guys like Casas, Soto, guys like that who know the strike zone very well, implement that system to show like, hey,
yep.
I know the strike zone better than anybody. So yeah, just some news and notes here to keep an eye out. As spring training comes on, maybe once more players and teams use it, there'll be some more data that we could talk about, saying like it's pretty successful, and hopefully we can see some of these teams implement it a little bit more. But that's all we had here for this episode of Cardboard Dugout. Obviously, like we just talked about, spring training is in full swing. The first slate of weekend games are here. So obviously as spring training rolls around, we will be covering it. Any news or notes that come out of spring training. Obviously, like we just talked about, the injury bug is going to be coming for some of these teams. So obviously anything that comes through with that, we'll talk about that. Any major news, if a crazy trade happens, we've seen it before. We'll talk about it here. Then obviously, like we just talked about, our season is almost less than a month away. So we will be talking about that. We'll be having some good little episodes here coming up sooner rather than later. But before we go into that, Bropio, any final thoughts for the good old listeners of Cardboard Dugout?
Yes, I did find out the name of the documentary. It's called The Clubhouse: A Year with the Red Sox, and it says that all 8 episodes will drop on April 8th. So we are going to get all
So
of them.
I have one day of being pissed off, and that's it.
Thank God. Yeah, binge watch. But other than that, I do have like a I don't want to say like a rebranding because I don't brand myself, but I do have like a what's the word I'm looking for? Like a renaming of the pages.
Reinventing? No, not reinventing.
So I did start I have been, yeah, because I think I had talked about, I had briefly brought it up to you about this is back when TikTok was going away. Even though we still really don't know what's going on with that, but anywho's, I was like, man, where the hell am I gonna like post my I was getting into obviously the card breaks and stuff like that. You mentioned like, oh, maybe you should make a page for it like on Instagram, and I was like, I kind of don't want to do that. Like, I don't want to have 2 pages and blah blah blah. Anyways, I stopped complaining. I stopped making excuses, and I made a page. So on the Instagram page, I'll be posting like I'll just be posting of like stuff that I pick up at the card shows, or like I'm getting a little bit more into grading now, which I just sent off some cards off to PSA. I have a package that is apparently at SGC, but God knows where the hell it's at as we speak. It's just been submitted. My package is received, but no updates of that. So SGC, if you're listening, please let me know where it's at. But yeah, so I also ended up changing my Twitter name to match with the Instagram page, but I'm now going to be posting stuff under Dad Who Collects. So obviously, as you can see from my lovely hat, I am a dad, full-time dad, and I love collecting cards and a bunch of other stuff. So yeah, something new. I'm gonna try to at least post at least once a day. That's what I'm gonna try to strive for and to shoot for. But other than that, I got nothing else.
So there you go. Dad Who Collects on Instagram, and also on X or Twitter, whatever you want to call it. Are you gonna change the TikTok name too? I don't think we talked about that.
I think I did.
Did you change it already?
I don't know if I did or not. Or I may have changed. If I haven't yet, it is going to be changed because I probably will roll with that too everywhere. I'm going to try to keep it all the
All under the one
same.
umbrella.
So
So yeah, there you go, everybody.
yeah,
Dad Who Collects, that is where you can follow Bropio on Instagram, Twitter, and on what the hell did I just say? Twitter, Instagram, and on TikTok. So my,
and the ticketing's out.
my brain is elsewhere. But yeah, so if you want to go follow him, that's where you can keep up with him. Again, like we just talked about, he's been diving into the content creation. He said he's not. It said he's not a brand, but you are a brand now. Like you got to take it as is. You are a brand. You got to accept that you are a brand. So yeah, go give him a follow. I'm pretty sure you'll be seeing me on there on some of those potentially. Any great submissions and things like that. I will be on there, and of course, if you follow my handle that Moon3PO, you'll see him on there as well. So yeah, please go give him a follow. Go support his channel because supporting him is like supporting me. So please go do that there. We will both greatly appreciate that. But with that, as we move forward here, like we just talked about, spring training is in full swing. We are going to be bringing back the episodes, hopefully once a week. We want to give our AL predictions, NL predictions, and then obviously have a cool little, sprinkle of, players who not to sleep on, AL rookies, NL rookies not to sleep on. And of course, have our award season and maybe have like a bold prediction episode, things like that. So that is what we expect as we head into March. But we may be a little bit busy, so time will tell. We will keep you updated. So again, follow us on the socials at Dad Who Collects. Follow me at Moon3PO everywhere, TikTok, Instagram, everywhere else. That is where you can follow me. So please, if you want to stay tuned for what we're doing, what we're recording, please feel free to follow us there. If you guys actually do listen to both Cardboard Dugout and Collecting the 123, just a little bit of a thing for that. Collecting the 123 is coming back. We are going to be recording this weekend as well. Elimination Chamber is this weekend on Saturday, so we will be talking about that. That is going to be our Elimination Chamber prediction, and we'll be talking a little bit of Topps Chrome, things of that nature. We've seen, like Bropio just mentioned, we had some big cards getting pulled this weekend. Had Top Strip Night, had some WWE stars. It was really, really cool to see that. Very, very exciting.
And I also cannot wait to talk about how The Rock wants to take Cody's soul. Like I cannot wait for that discussion.
That's for tomorrow. That's fucking ridiculous. I was like, dude, it's so weird. I'm over it.
I think The Rock was drunk. I don't know. That's like some shit I would say. I want your soul.
It's been 3 promos in a row. I don't know what the fuck he's saying. Like, it's so fucking weird. And the dude tries to act smarter than all of us. Granted, he probably is, but God, it's so weird. Anyways, you'll get.
Hey, like The Rock says, shut your mouth, know your role, and enjoy the ride that The Rock is taking you on.
Well, I'm not enjoying it. So we'll dive into all that and Collecting the 123. So if you guys want to tune into that, if you guys don't even know what the hell we're talking about, it sounds interesting to you, tune into Collecting the 123. Again, you can find it on the channel at Moon3PO, and it's also under the same feed on Spotify or Apple under Moon3PO. Yeah, that's all we had on my end. Keep an eye out. Again, if you guys haven't yet, subscribe to the channel. Again, follow us on everywhere so you can keep up there with our socials, because we'll be posting a little bit more as far as what to expect moving forward. But that's all we had. I do thank you guys for listening, watching, and we will see y'all